Hi everyone, I'm Not Good at Lying and welcome to my video. Today we're going to be playing A Dark Secret, Part 5. Last time we left off, our protagonist here had just murdered lots of people, just lots of them, for no reason. Well, for a very important reason. They raped her and did horrible things to her entire life. Anyways, let's get back to the story. After a while of consideration, she decided to take a different step and take a new approach at her next task. She would aim for an approach of torturing her next victim's mind into insanity before killing him. That way she thought she might be less likely to snap once more. She did not take the time to spy on the person this time. Instead, she just randomly left her mansion to go to the place where she knew there was an idea of what to do to make this time different in her head, and that idea she knew she would be able to put into action. The front door to the house was locked, but she could not care less. With her new determination, she stared at the lock, forcing the key stuck from the inside to turn around and unlock the way to her next victim. He lived alone. She approved of that. No distractions could ruin her plan. It took her little effort to find the man firmly asleep in his bed. With a single gaze, she forced him on his back, creating invisible ties around his hands, feet, and waist, making it impossible for him to move. He awoke, gasping in confusion and fear, lifting his head as high as he could to stare directly into Shiria's eyes. Shiria did not hesitate. She looked directly back into his eyes, reaching out of her mind in towards his. His inexperience flattered her. It was too easy for her to gain entrance into his mind, his heart, and his soul, just the way the magic had pierced hers. Apparently, he did not realize what was happening. All he seemed to feel was that something was wrong. His eyes closed when she began to fill his mind with lies. It was her plan, and it seemed to be so much easier than she had thought of it to be. She did not have to make the effort of torturing him. He wasn't worth that much attention. All she needed to do was to imagine scenarios she wanted to put him through in her mind and transfer them to his, ultimately creating the feeling of it being real in his brain. She chuckled at how simple the solution was, and apparently had been from the beginning. She could kill him 100 times, and he would never be able to make her stop until she decided to end his misery with the only thing in that night that would be real, his death. The first time she killed him simply by choking him to death with her bare hands. It satisfied her to be able to watch the impression on his face turn from fear to pain to despair, and then become completely blank. The second time she killed him, she simply slit his throat, enjoying every moment she could feel the warm blood running over her hands. The third time she killed him, she rammed the knife into his chest, getting it stuck in between his bones. She knew it was not a deadly assault. It satisfied her to see him suffer. In his eyes, she could see that he thought he was dying. She could feel the despair and the pain he was battling with. At first, she had doubted she would get the same satisfaction from this mental torture as she could get from the physical things she experienced from the previous times. It was her own reaction to the situation that proved her wrong. It was indeed not the same kind of satisfaction she could gain from this, but it was at least as intense as the feeling she had previously experienced. For a while longer, she took pleasure in killing the one who had tormented her before in any way she could possibly imagine. Then she broke the mental connection and looked down at the sweating and shaking body of her victim. She knew exactly how he felt. She had felt the same confusion, pain, and anxiety as he did now. It was exactly what he deserved. For the last death, she would make it final, real. She took out her knife, sharp as ever, and approached him, placing her knife on his left shoulder. She whispered into his ear about the death that was about to come. His face expression did not change anymore. He was already gasping in fear, pain, and confusion. It almost seemed like another death would not make a difference. Frustrated by his indifference, she pushed the knife deep into the man's flesh, bending it towards his arm. Slowly, she cut a straight line down his upper, then his lower arm, until she came to a stop at his wrist. The man seemed to be in so much pain, he could not even scream anymore. His face was as pale as Shiria's, and it seemed as if he was already dead, yet still breathing. So that is the effect of mental torture. Shiria was indeed disappointed. She had expected the most pleasure from the final death, Now she had to experience the effects of her doing and her miscalculations. She sighed, then pulled the knife out of his wrist, grabbing his hand, and she held it firmly as she created a deep cut through the veins on the wrist. Then, grabbing his other hand, she repeated the same process. She turned away from his face, stopped looking at him grimacing with pain. He gave a wince of pain when she lifted his foot and dragged the blade through his tendons at the back of both of his feet. God damn! Then she watched him bleed to death. Even with death, his face did not change. It remained a bizarre grimace of pain and fear, equal to her face expression after the death of her daughter. She smiled. With an insane singing, Shiria ran out the house and into the darkness of the night. The people believed there was a connection between all these murders of teachers. God. This girl has changed so much, guys. It's just so crazy. A man, gagged, tied naked to a chair, fearing for his own life. Only source of light, a few candles, casting shadows of fear and ultimately death throughout the basement. A woman once scored could be heard descending the stairs. She came into view, clothed in a bathrobe, a knife in hand. You know what is nice about gags? She asked, pausing as if waiting for him to say something. This music really doesn't fit, though. I can still hear your screams. She walked over to a candle and started running her blade through the flame. Don't worry, I'm sterilizing it just for you. Okay. She kneeled in front of him. You know, she said, running a figure along his inner thigh. You were always so surprised that I never screamed. Let's see if you do, shall we? Again she paused as if for an answer, grinned, slowly cutting a deep gash along the top of his thigh. All the while he screamed. She would wave her free hand through the air as if she was conducting a symphony. Standing up, she grabbed one of the candles. Now for a personal touch. She dripped hot wax into his wound, bending down to blow on it. How's the view? She chuckled. She took pleasure in every cut she inflicted. Soon her masterpiece was done. No more torture. Finishing her final incision. All over. She made it sound as if she had just bandaged a small child's injury. Afraid for his life, tears streamed down his face. She removed her bathrobe, revealing her scarred body, a mirror of the cuts she had just inflicted. We match, she said as she positioned herself behind the chair. He felt warm steel against his skin. She then kissed the top of his head. Any last words? This time she did not pause for a response. With an insane silence, Shiria ran out of the house into the darkness of the night. Her parents now knew that it was her. What they did to me was monstrous, and now I am a monster. Some commit acts on insanity, and attempt to hold what little sanity they have left. Some are insane, the sanest people you may ever meet. Insanity, a way to deal with insane circumstances. Sanity, the absence of insanity. Most are driven to insanity. Some try and maintain sanity. I was driven to it and I embraced it. So carefree. No code of conduct. No regard for your life, especially your own. Nothing to live for, yet so alive. This is insanity. This is insanity. Spread your wings, it feels great. Or clip them and never know. I am not a monster. I just do monstrous things to them. All of this just to prepare for you. Time for the parents, I guess. Shiria thought of her parents. She was determined that finally she had enough experience to turn towards them. She had not spared anyone. She would not spare them. They were the ones to blame the most. They had not protected her. All she had done before gave her the experience she needed to make her plans and dreams of revenge towards her parents come true, and not make unwanted mistakes which could ultimately kill them too soon. She knew they wanted to live. She knew they wanted to love. She knew she would make them. I closed my eyes. Covered in this darkness, I felt myself drawn to the mystic dark orb. I opened my eyes. The scenery in front of me had not changed. The orb was still there. The feeling was still there. I gasped in confusion. My breath was weak, equal to the slight breeze of an early summer morning, existent but barely noticeable. I closed my eyes again. It gave me a feeling of safety. The orb, a faintly glowing dark figure in the distance, came closer. I wanted to open my eyes. My muscles failed me. They remained closed. My fearful scream echoed unnaturally long in my ears. It remained unheard. If I had reached out my hand now, I had been able to touch the orb. Whispers from the distance drained my ability to follow the last echoes of my scream. As with reflex, I slowly lifted my arm to touch the foreign symbol in front of me. When I came close to it, a feeling of deep joy rushed through my body like water down a waterfall. Beautiful, unstoppable, immortal. Simultaneously, a great wave of fatigue swept over me like the sea on a far shore. Then I touched the orb. The darkness around me increased. Its intensity grew to something enormous like I had never seen before. I looked at it. I saw it. I drowned in it. A joyful sigh. Now I'm at home. A visual novel by Talina Yaldrania. Is that the end? Poems by Gisbin. Credits to Ashen Sorrow for over 20 amazing background images provided as stock. Other artwork credits: Alexis, I Must Be Dead, Joachim Off Confusion, Offlusion, Vink Black, Risner 70 stock, and a design stock, Indigo Deep. Credits to Brian Ciro for his amazing background tracks. Other music credits: Zero, music by Pedro. That's the end of the game. Wow, it's kind of abrupt. Man, everything that happened to that girl was just absolutely crazy. But this is one amazing story. If you guys want to check it out yourself, maybe make some different decisions and see how things go. Let me know how that happens, because I'd love to revisit this game at some point. I hope you guys liked the video. I hope you guys liked the series. If you did, like the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the video, or me. Hope you guys are having a great weekend, great night. Thank you so much for watching. Link will be in the description below, and I will see you